Wireless telegraphy, also known as radio. The history of this innovation feels like a soap opera. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla were rival inventors. Radios still rely on a Tesla coil component today, but just as Tesla was preparing to unveil a wireless transmitter that could carry a signal 50 miles, his workshop burned to the ground. Edison was known for using hired thugs and even the mafia, but the cause was most likely an electrical problem. With Tesla's work literally up in smoke, Guglielmo Marconi swoops in and manages to send the first transatlantic signal. His patent is later denied because the design relied on Tesla's work. Then the ruling was overturned in favor of Marconi when Andrew Carnegie and, you guessed it, Thomas Edison stepped in with marketing and money. In 1943, much later on, Marconi's patent was reversed again and posthumously awarded to Tesla. Getting radio to work at all was an endeavor filled with drama, but the effects on communication, culture, and society were even more dramatic. In 1905, the Japanese Navy obliterated a Russian fleet at the Battle of Tsushima, in part because they had purchased radio equipment from Marconi. Radio distress signals saved the lives of over 700 Titanic passengers, and subsequently, it became law for every vessel to have a wireless operator listening 24/7. People likened radio to newspapers, which was helpful in determining content, but there were several powerful distinctions. You don't need to be literate to listen to radio. You also don't need to make extra time because listening, as opposed to reading, can be a passive experience. You can listen to the radio while you work on other things. The radio was like cultural glue, uniting different classes and backgrounds under the banner of immediate information. The voice of the man on the street was heard alongside the voice of Orson Welles' War of the Worlds and alongside President Franklin D. Roosevelt's fireside chats. No president had ever spoken directly and simultaneously to the American people before. Politicians suddenly needed to become great orators. Propaganda was easily fed to the masses. There was another notable figure tied to the origins of radio. The same year Tesla's workshop went up in flames, Harold Marshall Sylvester Richards was born. When Marconi sent the first transatlantic signal, HMS Richards was 7. When his first live sermon was broadcast, Richards and radio were basically the same age. In 1929, HMS Richards' ministry took root in Los Angeles, California. After advertising one of the massive evangelistic crusades on the radio, the station offered him a daily spot for a family worship program. Richards was convinced evangelism must utilize the radio. But conference headquarters thought differently.
Radio is so new it's never been done before, and besides, it's the devil's tool. After all, alcohol is advertised over the radio, and so are cigarettes. The devil's tool, that's what it is.
While the conference remained unconvinced, Richards grew more obsessed. Finally, a friend confronted him.
Harold, you still haven't done anything about radio. Do you believe in it? I know God wants me to do this. He won't leave me alone about it. Do you really believe God wants you on the radio? Yes, I do. I know He wants me on the radio. No, you don't. You don't believe in any such thing. What do you mean? I do believe it. I really do. Well, if God wants you on the radio and you believe that's where He wants you, why aren't you on the radio?
The weight of his own fear and unbelief hit Richards like a ton of bricks. The very next night, when he stood at the door to collect offering, he told the congregation that his left coat pocket would be the radio pocket. If they believed in the ministry's potential, they could donate. In the middle of the Great Depression, HMS Richards' local congregation gave $220. That equates to over $3,000 in 2015. They gave it in cash, gold jewelry, and even teeth. Night after night, the money for airtime filled the radio pocket. While most radio preachers only preached, Richards worked with a producer and musicians to create a professional, polished program called The Tabernacle of the Air. Once-a-week broadcasts became daily broadcasts. Letters poured in with questions, prayer requests, and cash. Programming expanded. Lone Star 4, an all-male quartet, became a staple on the show. Evening meetings were recorded and sent out as far as the Atlantic coast, Alaska, New Zealand, and Australia. This went on for 7 years with no support from the conference. Finally, in 1937, the Union Conference decided to unite with ongoing ministry and actually convinced HMS Richards to move into radio full-time. From then on, the voice of prophecy was transmitted over the airwaves twice a week, coast to coast, by 89 different radio stations. After a renaming contest, the Lone Star 4 became the King's Heralds. Richards became a recognized radio authority. The Oregon Conference sent Julius L. Tucker to learn everything he could from Richards. Eventually, Tucker would learn enough to found his own program, The Quiet Hour. Today, because of HMS Richards, the voice of prophecy can be heard in nearly 36 languages. Bible lessons are available in over 70 languages. Adventist World Radio broadcasts in 80 languages and estimates that they are able to reach an astounding 2/3 of the world's total population. Embracing new tools and innovation brought Seventh-day Adventist missions into the modern world, and radio was just a first step in another 50 years of growth.